y'all, welcome back to Where in the Herd is Tiffany. On today's video, we are doing a vlog about Philadelphia, okay? I don't know about anybody else, but I grew up in the 90s and I grew up watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, okay? And so in the beginning of the video, it talks about how he was born and raised in Philly, and that's how he ended up moving to Bel-Air. But I'm gonna sing this song for y'all. Sing along with me. In West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing out, relaxing, all cool, and shooting some b-ball outside of the school when a couple of guys who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight and my mom got scared, said to move with your auntie and uncle in Bel-Air. So I love that song, but let's go to Philly. Let's go.
Where in the Herd is Tiffany, where we talk about travel, lifestyle, and mental health. Follow us on Instagram at Sweet Tiffies, Twitter at Sweet Tiffies, Facebook Sweet Tiffies Inspirations, and Tiffany-Travels.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
So let's talk about transportation to Philly. So if you guys have never heard, there's something called the Mega Bus, okay? And I love the Mega Bus. When I used to live on the East Coast, this is what I used when I wanted to go to New York, or in this case, when I wanted to go to Philly. So the reason why I love Mega Bus is because it is a 2-tier bus that you get, and I always used to go to the top, okay? And so this Mega Bus is really, really cheap depending on the time that you book it. I actually paid $50 round trip for this bus, but you can actually get it cheaper. I think I waited to the very last moment, but check out this bus. They do have it on the West Coast where I'm currently at in California, but it's primarily, I feel like, used a lot in the East Coast, but just check out the routes because you can go any type of way. And so I arrived at the Union Station in DC, and I was dropped off near the 30th Street Metro train in Philadelphia. And so it took me approximately about 3 hours and 10 minutes to ride the bus. So if you're down for a road trip, check that out. So once I got off at this stop, my first stop was the Reading Terminal Market. So if you've never been to Philly, you have to go to the Reading Terminal Market. It's just amazing to see all the different things that you can get there. There are things to eat, there's desserts, there's little shops. There's just so much in this Reading Terminal Market, which is why you have to go and try some of the things. So I arrived early in the morning. So I decided to eat at a little small popular restaurant. When I say small, I mean super small. There was not a lot of seats, and the seats were super close together. So it's funny because this was way before COVID. So it's interesting to see how they were seating people because we were close at that time. But anyway, I ate at a place called Dutch Eating Place. So it was a Dutch place, and I just got pancakes, eggs, and bacon. When I tell you these Dutch pancakes are super, super huge, super, super huge. You definitely can't finish it all, but it was delicious. And that's how I started off the Reading Terminal Market. And then they also have like samples that you can try. So it was a really good time of being in there. And then I was like, you know, your smell and your sight, like they were on overload because there's just so much stuff in there. There was sandwiches, soul food, cupcakes, cookies, pastries, fresh fruit, barbecue, and anything else you want to taste, it was probably in there. And I think the thing I tasted was some peanut butter pudding, which was actually really good. So definitely you gotta stop there. Okay, so now that you are getting out of the Reading Terminal Market, you want to actually go into the city. So I highly recommend using what we call the Phlash Bus. It's spelled P-H-L-A-S-H. So if you are from Philadelphia, I may be pronouncing that wrong, but that is this bus, okay? And so the bus was only $5. So the bus literally goes to like these iconic stops in Philadelphia. So there is another bus that you can use, which is the hop on, hop off tour, which we know they have that in many cities. But that bus was $32 at the time. And so $32 or $5, and they're all going to the same place. Of course, I chose the cheaper option. And if you need help or anything like that, just ask the bus drivers. I think I got a little turned around on there, but they'll let you know, okay, stand on this side or stand on this side to go to your next destination. And I'll make sure to include the website so that you can actually go and purchase your ticket either ahead of time or just have exact change when you're getting on that bus in Philly. So the first stop on my trail, I went to the Liberty Bell Center. So you got to go see the Liberty Bell. That's kind of iconic. So it's where the famous crack Liberty Bell is housed. So there's different, I guess, rumors around what happened to the crack bell. So let me know, what story have you heard? But the inscription on the bell reads, Leviticus 25:10, proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. So this scripture refers to the time of Jubilee when the Israelites were instructed to free slaves every 50 years. It is believed that Quaker Isaac Norris used this inscription to celebrate the 50th anniversary of William Penn's 1701 Charter of Privileges, granting religious freedom to those in Pennsylvania. So after the Civil War, the abolitionists started embracing this theme as a way to end slavery. But as I was reading the bell, I'm like, wait, I noticed that there were people that were embracing this bell. And I'm like, how could the most oppressed and discriminated communities kind of embrace a symbol that didn't necessarily embrace them back? But I kind of now realize that the bell represented the struggle and the fight between movements such as the civil rights and women's rights. So let me know if you have visited the Liberty Bell and like read the stuff that's in there. Let me know if you agree or kind of disagree about what I'm saying as it relates to the bell. On this bus was Love Park. So if you didn't know, Quaker William Penn named the city Philadelphia. So Philos is for Greek, for all you Greek people that actually know your history about this. And Adelphos means brother. So this is why they are known as the city of brotherly love. Penn was often oppressed due to his religious views and wanted to ensure people could worship freely. And so there is a sign. Actually, there's a couple of them, but there's this main one. And it's literally a box that kind of says love. And then it has a little heart right there. So definitely great place to take pictures. And it's just kind of part of what the city is all about. Our next stop was the Eastern State Penitentiary. So I'm like, you're probably like, why in the heck would you go to a penitentiary? But I'm telling y'all, this was actually pretty cool penitentiary to go to. So it is the oldest prison. It was formed in 1829. And it is known for incarcerating Al Capone, a mobster from Chicago. If you guys watch those movies, you know who that is. So you can purchase your tickets in person or you can purchase them online. Purchase them online, you save a couple dollars, not very much. And so you could do a guided tour. So I was like running out of time. So I decided to do the guided tour. And so as you walk through the prison, you'll be provided with stories about life, about the prisoners that were there. So what was the purpose of this prison way back in 1829? So the prison was designed to be a place for criminals to change deviant behavior or repent. That's the word penitentiary. When the prison first opened, they strongly believed in solitary confinement. Inmates were not allowed to commune with each other and their faces had to be covered when leaving their cell blocks. Now, that would be another video because I don't necessarily agree with that. But again, this is 1829, so it was a whole different time back then. So at the time that I went, there was several exhibits and I explored some of them. But the most interesting to me was, it was called Prison Today, and it discussed mass incarceration. So Black and brown people are incarcerated more than any other population due to unfair policies and discrimination. We already know about that, right? And this kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever seen it. This reminds me of the Khalid Browder story. It was about a young Black man who was incarcerated over 2 years, but never charged with a crime. After being released, he had severe mental health issues and eventually committed suicide as a result of his imprisonment. Do you have any personal stories of Black and brown people being incarcerated? So it's very interesting to kind of see the history, kind of something that you already knew, but kind of bringing it to the forefront at this exhibit. There's different art installations. As humans, we're designed to have social interaction, such as physical touch or the conversation via phone or person. Solitary confinement can cause psychological and emotional trauma when these interactions are not available. And so does anybody remember watching Mandela, the Long Walks of Freedom movie? So I vividly remember this scene where Winnie Mandela begins talking to the insects in prison due to a long duration of solitary confinement. So imagine what was going on back in the 1800s when this was going on. So these are just some things to think about. I know you're probably like, oh my God, Tiffany, what are you talking about? But I just thought these were super interesting. These are my perspectives after seeing these installations. And so another one that was super interesting was called Solitary Watch, Photo Requests from Solitary. So these are inmates who are in long-term solitary confinement and they can request real or imaginary photos. So the requests can range from pictures of pyramids in Mexico City to a rose growing out of the cracks in a prison. And so they have a specific site where you can send these pictures. So definitely check out the penitentiary, a great place with great history. Was actually City Hall. And so this is a national landmark that houses the Philly government. Buy tickets and go to the observation deck where you can see a view of the city below and a statue of William Penn, which I mentioned earlier. And so I definitely did this. If you don't have time to do it, you don't have to do it. But if you do have time, I say, hey, why not? I feel like I'm 50-50. I think you should do touristy stuff, and I think you should do stuff out of the box. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check that out. You cannot go to Philadelphia and not eat a Philly cheesesteak, okay? So what they say is blasphemous to do this. So definitely get you a Philly cheesesteak. So if you're not familiar with this steak, which probably most people are, it's a thinly sliced beef steak. It has cheese, onions, and what they call a hoagie. I just call it bread, but different places call it different things. So Pat and Henry Olivier are credited with inventing this Philly staple in the 1930s. I can't talk, y'all. So although many tourists go to Pat's or Geno's, Philly locals, I literally asked in Facebook groups, what do you recommend? They all told me to go to Max or D'Alessandro's, okay? So I decided to Uber to Max's, which is located in Germantown. I was not disappointed. The bread was soft. The meat was seasoned very well. And I live in LA, and I wish that we had the same type of Philly cheesesteak. They need to definitely step up their game here in LA, because Philly cheesesteaks are this big. In California, we get them this small. Something is wrong with this scenario. Like, LA, get it together. But we talking about Philly. So Philly, you did what you were supposed to do. But yeah, go to Max. I will say that it is in the hood though, so don't be alarmed. Like, it's okay. Like, I think you should be fine. And I know when I went there, they had a picture of, what's the comedian name? I can't think of his name right now, but his picture is there. I will put the picture there below. So yeah, get you a Philly cheesesteak. Do not leave the city without eating one. Side note, but it relates to this. So if you have Facebook friends in different cities, make sure you reach out to them. I reached out to a friend. Her name is Christina. Hey, Christina. And so I actually met with her. I think that might have been our first time meeting in person, but I actually stayed with her. And we went to this cool little place called Relish. And it had live music and soul food, which was really cool. But I say that to reach out to people because they can low-key be your tour guides. If they're available, say, hey, do you want to meet up? Do you want to hang out? And in the morning time, I know we went to go get breakfast at like this little small like coffee shop or whatever. So I highly recommend connecting with other people when you are visiting different cities. I was only in Philly for a day trip, so there are so many things that I definitely missed that y'all need to check out because I didn't check them out. So if you live in Philly or have been to Philly, let me know some of the things that when I go back to Philly, the things that I can check out. So the one thing that I missed, which I'm like super bummed about, was the Rocky Stairs. That was from Rocky the Third. He runs up the stairs and he pumps like this. And so that was the one thing I was like, the one thing that I wanted to do, but just did not have time. I just ran out of time. Another thing to check out is the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. They have a waterfront. There's an African American museum that I didn't get a chance to check out. So there were so many things that I didn't do. So let me know in the comments below, what have you done that I did not mention in this video that you highly recommend? All right, I hope you enjoy going to Philly for the day. All right, peace.
Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share button.